Joining us now to discuss the situation further in detail at the Belarusian-Polish border, we have Zygmunt Dzięciołowski, founding editor of Open Democracy Russia. Good afternoon and welcome to TVP World.
Thank you for your invitation.
So now, why is Alexander Lukashenko doing this?
It's a very sort of simple question to answer. He wants to create more problems and headaches for us. He's sitting in his presidential palace in Minsk and thinking all the time. He thinks we are crooks. Haven't you heard what he said about Poles recently in connection with the Polish judge who escaped to Belarus? This is a nation of crooks and they can do anything with him. So when, in his opinion, we are crooks, so we need to be punished. He has to do something to create more problems, more troubles for Poland and for the European Union. And that's a very simple tactic, especially as he knows that Poland is very supportive, supports considerably Belarusian emigre activities. We have a number of Belarusian immigrants living in exile in Poland and sort of thinking about the future of democratic Belarus without a dictator.
Yes, exactly. Well, now, as we've seen just moments ago and have mentioned, 1,500 is the number right now this month, attempts at crossing the border into Poland. Now, 651 of those attempts were just in the past 2 days. So are we going to see a bigger uptick here?
These stats are alarming, even though we have to remember that compared with the country which is affected by the migrant problem most seriously, this is Italy, these numbers are much bigger. I remember 2022 was 130,000 over the whole year, and the number increased last year. Mediterranean is more popular route. To cross to Poland over this 5 meters high wall is not that easy. But we have combination here of Belarusian dictator strategy targeting Poland and European Union, and we also have international mafias specializing in smuggling people across borders. Their interests are the same, they're mutual. They found points of agreement and they are cooperating smoothly. These increased numbers in May, especially in the beginning of May, probably they believe that their festive period of 9th of May, 1st of May in Belarus and Russia, this is a period of national holidays. And it's the same in Poland, 1st of May, 3rd of May, that perhaps in this sort of holiday season it would be easier to penetrate to Poland. This is serious. We have to be prepared. But at the same time, I must say that I am at the age when there was always a great number of Poles who tried to escape to the West, and they did it. They were not all political refugees. They did it in order to improve their standard of living. And I somehow understand motives of people who pay large amounts of money to be brought to Minsk and then to try this attempt to cross illegally the border to Poland.
Right, but there is a fundamental difference, and that is that they are paying,
I agree.
Big money to come in.
I agree, even though I have one heart, and this heart remembers how we sort of we looked for freedom as we described this at that time.
Right, and so are those people. But also, I think another thing that we'll see if the numbers are in fact increasing and they're going to balloon, the weather's getting nice. Right?
Yes.
So that makes it much more accommodating to be outside for many days, if not weeks, trying to get through the
and makes it easier.
Border.
Right. Now I wanted to ask, you mentioned this being a strategy of Lukashenko of targeting Poland and the EU, and going back to the former Polish judge that you mentioned who has defected into Belarus, can he also somehow play into this strategy of trying to hurt the European Union, and will he be, let's say, useful for Alexander Lukashenko in some way?
We've seen all Polish media, which are full of reports and critical articles about the situation, that Polish special services overlooked this and didn't pay enough attention, and alarming about possible information warfare targeting Poland by Russia and Belarus. That's all true. We have to be very careful. We have to sort of mobilize in order to defend ourselves. But at the same time, I don't think Poland has very special history. Poland was occupied by Russia for more than 130 years in 18th and 19th century. Then we had 20 years period of time when we tried to rebuild free nation. But then after the war, we again fell under Soviet influence. So this means that majority of Poles has sort of developed this kind of gene which allows them to be sort of attentive to all those pro-Russian. I don't really believe that. I don't have a single friend among my friends who are representing very diverse political views, who would say, oh, listen, we have to negotiate with Putin, we have to sort of improve our relations with Kremlin. That would be insane. But there are these people in Poland. That's minority. They are trying to manipulate public opinion. They are throwing into internet. Internet is the most useful means of distributing this kind of views. And of course, this kind of thinking is more popular in some Western countries, such as Italy and France. You meet people who tell you, listen, Kremlin and Putin, they also have their own interest. This is sort of understanding attitude. This is dangerous. This is dangerous. We sort of have to mobilize ourselves to explain to the European public opinion how dangerous is Vladimir Putin and his generation and the generation which is now ruling Russia.
Well, I think Poland's been doing an excellent job of that, which makes this situation almost shocking. I think many Poles are shocked to see one of their own citizens defect to Belarus.
To Belarus, right.
If I may add one thing, I'm just thinking if he's crazy or what? How come he has decided to improve beautiful Polish life into this kind of existence he's going to have now in Belarus? Remember the editor of opposition media outlet who was flying the plane which was hijacked by Belarusian dictator. He had beautiful life here in Poland, and his life was turned into nightmare in Belarus. He is now threatened with. He does everything they tell him, everything which is being dictated, and I think Mr. Szmydt must have been not in his right mind when he did that.
Well, yeah, I don't predict very good things for him and the rest of his life. He's definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right. Now, what about, because you also said that Vladimir Putin is, of course, a very dangerous man, but then how seriously are we treating the Belarusian special services?
Well, we have to treat them very seriously. If you remember, maybe you don't because you're very young, but in Soviet times, special services and armies of different Warsaw Pact countries were sort of specializing in certain international areas. Like I remember that our troops were supposed to invade Denmark, for example. So our staff officers were studied maps and communications, and I think to some degree. Belarus is the branch of Russian special services specializing in Poland. Polish language is popular in Belarus. They speak Polish quite well. Poland is in their closest vicinity, and somehow. But part of Belarus used to be part of Poland before the World War II. So I believe that KGB in Belarus, they kept this old name coming from Soviet times, whereas in Russia they changed the name to FSB, Federal Service. Okay, I believe they're very much controlled by Moscow, and they're their specialized branch targeting Poland.
That's a actually fascinating point that you make, and a very good one. Perhaps Polish officials, perhaps Polish intelligence agencies underestimate that. And if we look at the amount of Belarusians that are here living in Poland, I mean, it's a great number. So how can Poland defend itself against infiltration by...
Okay, it's again a controversial question. We have opposition activists, but perhaps there are some people who play the role of Belarusian opposition activists, but at the same time they sort of do some useful services for the Belarusian secret services, and they don't demonstrate doing that. We really have to sort of make sure that we have good, efficient, professional, expert special services. Which don't play PR, which don't play media, which do their job professionally, and they target all the groups which are in the risk zone. There are some groups in the risk zone. They need to be monitored. They need to be studied with the methods available to the Polish special services. I hope that with the government we have now, they will make a point that the services would be really interested in their job rather than in sort of busy with public PR, PR activities.
Mm-hmm.
So now we learned that the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk is set to travel to the border of Poland and Belarus. Might we see some kind of de-escalation?
I don't know, but that's important that Polish Prime Minister representing Polish government his trip to the eastern border is a clear demonstration to our opponent, to our enemy in the east. Listen, be careful, beware. It's not going to be easy for you. We are mobilizing our resources. We'll do our best to apply strategy which will be constructive, which will be efficient.
Right, and in that strategy, actually, some reforms to the intelligence service could be in order. There's been some voices out there that are saying, well, because Judge Szmydt was not detected and was even allowed to cross over into Belarus, that was an intelligence failure. And so potentially there need to be some reforms enacted within the counterintelligence agencies.
I don't know if you know that if we have our foreign passports, we could take a car and sort of go to Belarus, and this is visa-free country for us. So it's not so difficult. If you have foreign passport, if you travel in your car to Minsk, you would be, and if you are not in the red book by Polish border service, you would be allowed to go there. I think we need sort of. I would say it this way. Last 8 years, we had government very much interested in PR, in a number of things which are very sensitive, politically sensitive. They were very much interested in PR. The time for PR is over. Now the time has come for serious work. Special services are different now than they used to be maybe 50 years ago. Spy services work in different ways. There are new technologies, new internet technologies, geolocating and monitoring mobile telephone networks, etc., etc. We have to be professionals in this regard.
So now what do you think about this special commission that the Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk wants to establish, the one dedicated to the secret services?
We need this commission, but again, I'd be very happy if they were professionals, if they were expert, if they sort of were busy to carry out the task which was assigned to them, rather than a lot of words, PR, propaganda, and sort of now we are sort of busy with providing security for Poland. This is very important. I'm always sort of careful when I hear about things like that. That these are political things which are not really about sort of expert, professional approach, but they are about political propaganda and political PR.
Right. Well, we have a lot of commissions currently going on at the moment. Well, I guess we're going to have one more. Well, thank you, sir. for joining us today. Zygmunt Dzięciołowski, founding editor at Open Democracy Russia. Thank you for shedding light on this issue, and we'll be keeping an eye on it and hopefully have you back soon. Thank you.
Thank you.